Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Julie Mann. I am a professional network marketer, an actor, and I'm also an EFT practitioner. And today I'm joined by Paige Smith. Hi, Paige.
Hello.
So Paige is a life coach and founder of The Happy Stutterer, and I'm so keen to ask you some questions. But first of all, Paige, I've been looking up some statistics around stuttering, and I actually know that you are in Canada, aren't you?
Yes.
But actually what I found out was that roughly 3 million Americans stutter. And, you know, stuttering affects people of all ages. So it occurs most often in children between the ages of 2 and 6 as they're developing their language skills. And approximately 5 to 10% of all children will stutter for some period in their life, lasting from a few weeks to several years. So as someone who has a stutter or definitely used to stutter as a child, can you tell us what life was like for you, what life is like for you?
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, like your stat, yes, definitely. That is a pretty common stat. Basically it's 1% of the world population. So that's about, they say about 70 million people that stutter. And so, yeah, as a child, I did start at a very young age, pretty much my earliest memory. And I would have to say, like most children, they're told that they will outgrow it. And unfortunately, I was one of those children at the time that did not grow out of it. And I became one of the, 25% of children that grow up to be adult stutterers. And as you'll notice, I'm probably fairly fluent now, but that was not always the case. It's taken me a lifetime to get where I am now. So that really is, I had, such non-fluency that I couldn't say my name. There'd be times where I couldn't say two words together. But over time, I feel like my speech has changed, maybe more because I've changed, the more as a person from inside, because I know that what contributed to my stuttering was a lot of other factors. I don't believe I was born with stuttering. Maybe I was born with a predisposition, possibly because my mother stuttered. But I think there was a lot of other factors that basically hit a critical mass and kind of kept me stuttering. And so those factors are very, very various based on, I was painfully shy. I had social anxiety. The list could go on.
Amazing. And look at you now. I mean, I guess that actually it doesn't help that people refer to a stutter as an impediment. I mean, that already kind of sets people off on the back foot, doesn't it?
It is an impediment because it does impede you from living your life. And I mean, of course, as much as you let it, but when it is when it is just on a solely physical level, if you are trouble, they can't say your name, or you're having trouble at that job interview, those physicalities definitely impede you, especially when you're trying to make a good impression. And if someone doesn't understand it, I think a lot of stigma is people who don't understand it think that, oh, there's something wrong with this person, when really they are. It has, what I have read, that people who stutter are actually, if not the same or above average intelligence. It's like they really are. We're smart people. It's just that other things get in the way if you let it.
That's a great thing to know, isn't it? And I guess the problem is really that I imagine, you know, a lot of people lack patience, don't they? They have a lack of understanding, but they also lack patience, and they want to probably interrupt the feelings of discomfort that they experience as a result of being around someone with a stutter, and maybe they try and finish off the sentence. I mean, did you ever experience that?
Oh, yes, yes, very much so. I would have to say, you know, people's attention is like 2.2 seconds. And I think actually that contributed partly to why I stuttered, because I'm very sensitive. I'm a very sensitive person. And I was always very sensitive to other people. And I could always pick up that their impatience, right? So I always felt that pressure of time. And generally when you have these factors, it really affects your performance, right? So I think when I was learning to read as a child, and like I picked up on those negative things, and I think it impeded me for sure. Yeah, but that impatience, and you know, people have finished my sentences in the past. You know, maybe at one time when I was really younger, I didn't mind that. Like I was like, well, if I can't say it, like I was more than happy. But in letting that happen, I really disempowered myself. So I really learned that it's, you know, best to try to say it myself, even if it wasn't perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And none of us are perfect anyway, are we? So what would you say was the most challenging thing for you, Paige, about having a stutter?
Oh,
The most.
the most challenging. Well, like to be able to, you know, communicate is a form of self-expression. And, you know, so because I didn't have that, I had to rely on other ways to really express myself. And luckily I had a talent more for art. So, and you know, one of my stories when in grade 1 really sticks out for me was, you know, it was show and tell. And I went up, I had nothing to show. So I went up to tell. And when I got up to the front, and literally I could not get past, I like literally could not get past that. And the teacher told me to sit down. And that was the first moment where it was just, okay, something is really wrong. I can't get it out. But it really taught me at that time that, well, I wasn't good at telling. So I was better at showing. And so really, luckily I've been able to have that. But really the hardest thing was just, like, I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have art. Like if I didn't have a means to express myself in another way, I think that would have been the hardest thing, because I think self-expression is so integral to who we are as just human beings, right? And so luckily I had that, but really the most difficult, all of it, like I would not wish this on anyone, not anyone at all.
Okay, so talking of self-expression, I know that your background is as a graphic designer, isn't it? But more recently, you became a life coach, which is really exciting, and you specialize in coaching people who do stutter. Yes. So what difference does your coaching make to the people that you work with, Paige?
Well, yeah, so the reason that I chose to become a coach now is really because, well, I've gotten to a point now with my fluency, so that was a good thing. But I think the fact that I feel there was a gap, and it was when I was younger, when I was in my early 20s, and I felt I'd gone for speech therapy for a 3-week intensive. I had gone for counseling, and I realized that even though those people had big hearts and like just lots to offer, but I always was talking to someone who had never stuttered a day in their life. And I think I always kind of had that mistrust of like, well, how do you know? Like, you're telling me what I should do, or, but like, how do you know what I'm feeling or dealing with? And so I never, but now I really feel like it's my opportunity to kind of bridge that gap between the, I think coaching really can bridge the gap between the therapy of the actual mechanics and the counseling part. But see, counseling a lot too, anytime with therapy is telling you, like kind of telling you what to do. And coaching is very much, it guides you, but everything is about you already are empowered. You are not, you're already whole. You're not broken. There's nothing to be fixed. Like, it's more coming from a place where you are empowered and really to tap into the potential and personal power you already have, but that you've just forgotten about.
I love that. Absolutely. So if someone is watching Paige and they have a stutter and they're really struggling right now, do you have any tips?
Yeah. Oh, man. Do I have any tips? I know for each person, having a stutter is very, very different. Like, I know there is a, you know, a universal thing that bonds us together, but yet I would never assume that your experience is the same that I experienced. But for tips, like, I have to say, outside of the speech therapy I went for when I was 19 years old, I don't really believe I use my techniques anymore. It's like I do and I don't. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I found that the more I developed myself personally and tried to understand myself on a deeper level and really cultivate mindfulness and awareness and trying to understand myself. And, you know, the more I changed, I believe, from the inside, it really has impacted the physicality of what you hear on the outside. Now, doesn't mean I never stutter. Like, I will still have little trips here and there, but I mean, I'll take this over where I was when I was younger. So it's I think just believe in yourself. You know, you always have become your best friend. Like, you really have to be your own cheerleader. I think a lot what happens with stuttering is that we're so sensitive possibly to other people's approval. And we're so needy of that approval that, and we're always really at their whim, right? So, and this level of judgment, like, I know there's huge judgment when you feel that you stutter, not only from like just the outside world, but also inside as well. And that judgment can really bring, I know I experienced like such shame to my core that really impacted everything, my self-esteem, my confidence. It just, you know, I think, you know, really look at it more holistically, right? It's like, I really think that the more that I was being, you know, I had a mantra at one time when you know, be healthy and happy. At the time, I was not healthy. I was not happy. I had no idea what that meant. But my goal was to live that, whatever that meant. And so all my decisions went through that, being healthy and happy. And I think over time, that's the thing. This is over time. It's not just like silver bullet. There's not just like Shazam. And it really is a progress. But if you take that first step, you know, towards it and just keep going and keep going, and yeah, you're going to have setbacks and, you know, difficult days and all that. But you know what? Just got to pick yourself up and keep moving forward, and know that you'll be okay. You will be okay. That today I realize is not your last day. There's always tomorrow, and then there's always another day. And I really feel like if I look back when I was 25, my God, I only wish I could see the future a bit and see what was possible, that by the time I am where I am now, that it was possible. At the time, I didn't know it was possible, but I had a desire that I knew I wanted to speak better. I wanted to express myself, and I just wanted to get out of this prison. Like I was just that's what I felt like. It felt like a prisoner in your own body, basically.
Yeah, I mean, actually just taking responsibility and yeah, being courageous enough to step out of that kind of previous identity is the only thing that can work for any of us, whatever it is that we're dealing with, isn't it? You know, in order to have something different, we have to do something different and think differently. So I absolutely love that. So how can people find out more about you, Paige?
Yeah, so they can find me online on Instagram at The Happy Stutter. And also my website right now is coming soon, but hopefully it will be up. So it is thehappystutter.com.
Love it. Anything else you'd like to say before we finish?
Well, I just thank you for this time to chat, and really I must say this is one step. As I was saying, it's one more step pushing myself out of my comfort zone, and I think that's really what has got me where I am. You don't get anywhere if you just stay where you are, and unfortunately taking that first step, yes, it is uncomfortable, but behind it, on the other side, is more freedom, really. Like you get more freedom. And I've had to learn that it's okay if it's not perfect. I'd rather have that feeling of just my world has expanded, right? Like my world has expanded, but like anything, it's just, then it's a new comfort zone, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So thank you for really helping me push that. As my coach says, that is my speaking is my speaking bubble. So we're always working on expanding my speaking bubble. So thank you.
I love that. I think you are an absolute inspiration. Thank you so much, Paige.
Thank you. Thank you.